Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. So even today Ukraine took more ground from the Kursk Oblast. We are speaking about two main villages, Lebedovka and Malaya Lochnya. Plus you may see all of this area with many of the fields, even some lake, so Ukraine propelled forward. And there are no Russian soldiers in this place any longer. Plus the main town of Suja went mostly under Ukrainian control. But still there could be some of the groups of the Russian soldiers which might remain in the city. And Ukraine has three of the major attack vectors, as you may see, but now obviously the pace of the offensive slowed down. Nevertheless, Ukraine sends more and more reinforcements. We already know about it. And again, Russia tries to send their convoy, this time from Kursk. Probably I showed you that convoy yesterday. It was in the Russian news. They actually filmed those vehicles. And this is the result. One more Russian convoy was just ambushed on the way. Yes, it is a different one. Yesterday it was the other convoy which was ambushed during the nighttime, and Russia decided to go maybe during the daytime. And again the convoy was standing at the same place for some time, and it was enough for Ukrainian HIMARS to react. And you may see that Ukrainian surveillance drones are flying over the Kursk Oblast. Their job is to spot the Russian army movement far away from the front lines. It means that the Ukrainian army is well prepared for this intervention to the Russian territory. Guys, if you want to support the job that I do on YouTube, you may do it also via Patreon. The Patreon link is available in the video description just below. Thank you so much for maintaining my motivation. Then YouTube cancels monetization. And about yesterday's convoy that was ambushed near Rilsk, well, Russia could have lost there more than 400 soldiers. Sources said 490. It is a crazy number and one of the biggest Russian losses because of the single strike since the beginning of the war. Guys, because we don't have lots of the updates from the deep state military map of what is happening in the Kursk Oblast, I rely to the Kursk analytic. I will put his maps in the video description just below. He analyzes all of the social media and we have the evidence. For example, here Russia uses the aviation gliding bombs, and we may check out the source and watch the video of that bomb. Or sometimes we have the reports from local, so Ukrainian armed forces detected over here. And here the information actually comes from the deep state. Yes, they publish the information, the video information, but they do not update the chart for the recent events. I think it was agreed with the Ukrainian government, because the Ukrainian government stays very calm about the case. So now the further spot where Ukrainian army was seen is near Bolshoye Soldatskoye village, which is still far away from the Kursk city and far away from Kurchatov nuclear power plant. I would say it's just a small probability for Ukraine to advance to that nuclear power plant, because again it's very far from Ukrainian border. To take it under control, Ukraine should take under control all of this vast area for the supplies to be very robust, because Russia uses aviation. And as you may say, Russia tries to bomb Ukrainian positions where Ukrainian army has reserves. Russia uses Iskander missiles and aviation gliding bombs. And definitely it was confirmed that Ukraine took the Poros under control. Poros is the village in the Belgorod Oblast. Plus the Russian analytics write that Ukraine might start one more full-scale military operation in Belgorod Oblast or in Kursk Oblast, but a little south from Suja, and actually we had a report about this full-scale operation already. So the Russian military bloggers say that Ukraine started the offensive operation towards the Bela village and penetrated the border at the new spot, probably also without Kadyrov forces. Well, for now this information is considered to be a fake one. The problem is that Ukrainian official information is totally absent, and the only information source are the Russian Z publics, their military analytics, and basically their officials. And you know, for the last day the rhetoric started to change from "oh my god, we are running away, it's the total collapse" to "we are winning, we are causing losses for Ukrainian side." It seems like some of the job was done by FSB with the Russian Z community. Now they publish the winning scenario, and sometimes disinformation like we see over here. It doesn't mean that it will not happen in the future, by the way. And yes, the Russian Z community is still concerned about the possible new Ukrainian intervention, for example, to Belgorod Oblast. However, few of the Russian Z bloggers are not following this narrative of the winning, and they say that definitely Suja is encircled. Suja, it's the city, which is the main and the biggest one in this area, so it wasn't taken by Ukraine, they say, but it was totally encircled because Ukraine cut the main road for supplies towards Kursk. On this military map we see that Suja is actually under Ukrainian control, but this is also Suja and it is still in the gray area. But what the Ukrainian army did, as the Russians say, well, it cut this supply road. And the road to the southeast was mined by Ukraine using the special mining shells. So there is no way Russia might retake the city under their control. We even have the photo evidence that Suja was encircled, at least partially, by Ukrainian armed forces. Here are our soldiers. They were spotted in one of the villages not far away from the eastern Suja district, so the picture looks like that for now. It is actually the latest map I was able to find. Yes, it's still not the full encirclement of Suja, but it's very, very close to it. There are no roads left for the Russian armed forces to leave Suja. They should go just across the fields. The fields which are under Ukrainian surveillance control, so Ukraine may use drones out there. It means that the Russian group is basically trapped. Here in this map, the eastern side of the city is already under Ukrainian control. On different map, we see that this part is under the Russian control. Definitely there is a fog of war presented, but we may came to the conclusion that Suja is encircled, judging on reports from the Russian side as well as from Ukrainian side. And you know, guys, the Russian Foreign Ministry already caused the international community to condemn the attack of Ukrainian army on sovereign land of the Russian Federation. Kind of interesting, right? No worries, Russia, it's just a limited special military operation, the purpose of which is denazification and demilitarization of the Russian forces in the Kursk Oblast. Because the local regime took civilians as the hostages, they are not allowed to speak Ukrainian, they do not have Ukrainian schools, even though ethnically many of the locals are Ukrainians. So consider it as the pass from Ukrainian side. You know, guys, it's very hard to predict the outcome of this operation. Well, my prediction that Ukraine will not be able to achieve the goal of the Kurchatov nuclear power plant. It will keep, for example, this ground, it will create the defense lines, and Russia will have to send their reinforcements to this area from Ukrainian front lines if they want to take this land back. Or Ukraine in that case might just trade this territory for some of the Ukrainian occupied territory. Not a big piece of land, but here Ukraine even took more ground compared to Russia took, for example, in Kharkiv region, over here and over here. Some of the mainstream media already called this operation as the riskiest decision yet by Vladimir Zelensky. But I think that after all, everything was coordinated with our allies. Moreover, Ukraine obtains the new military package from the United States worth 125 million United States dollars. There will be Stinger missiles, HIMARS shells, artillery shells, multi-mission radars, and so on. Many of the stuff will go to Ukraine to reinforce probably the group of Ukrainian army in Kursk. It is a very bad signal for the Russian Federation because the world community, the Western democracies, they do support Ukraine. Again, even with this operation, they're okay with their tanks, armored vehicles, and all of the weaponry to be used on the Russian territory. Putin understands that, that's why he looks very tired recently. Probably the only way to escalate for Putin is to use the tactical nukes, but in that case, his only friends could turn around from him, because he will be considered as a psycho. And you know, guys, what we have in this list is not the full picture. There is more weaponry coming to Ukraine than officially reported and said. The New York Times says that Russians were able to stop the assault of Ukrainian army towards north. Well, it's not that correct. Actually, Ukrainian army stopped itself because extending supply lines is not a good idea. But here they also add that the assault of Ukrainian army still continues. Obviously. So far, Russian army is still active and advancing on the Ukrainian front lines. It is yet unknown whether the Russian Army Command will send their forces towards Kursk. They mean capable forces. And actually, yes, Russia still may cause Ukraine losses in Kursk Oblast by using mostly Lancet drones. We have those videos shared by the Russian official propaganda, their defense ministry, and they say that they're winning, but actually it's not like that. Those are just occasional cases. At the same time, then Russia shows those occasional videos, they have tremendous losses in their convoys, in their infantry. They are losing their territory as well. But I see how Russia wants to light up only their victories on a warfield, not the defeats. About the Kursk itself, well, Russia intercepted the Ukrainian .U missile, that's what they write, and missile went into the local building, actually near it, causing some of the damages, but there were no civilian casualties. At the same time, Russia also struck Ukrainian residential building, and there are some of the casualties among civilians. The self-proclaimed president of Belarus woke up and said that they are sending their forces again close to Ukrainian border. He said that with the actions of Ukraine in Kursk, Ukraine also threatens Belarus. How is that connected? It's not even near. Well, probably Lukashenko afraid of the similar scenario, or he wants to take some of the Ukrainian group, Ukrainian armed forces, to protect the border with Belarus. That's why again he's sending his army, so negotiations which were previously achieved are not working any longer. But I don't think that Belarus will attack Ukraine after all. No, Lukashenko just plays his political game in Putin's favor, that's it. Belarus even shows their forces in action, how they load everything on the trains, and they send everything to Ukrainian border. They also reported that they've shot down some of the Ukrainian UAVs, which violated the airspace of Belarus, but no any evidence is presented. It means that Lukashenko came out with excuse that Ukraine is using some sort of the drones just to send the forces. Actually, there were no any drones flying over Belarus. Then Russia launches their Shahed drones to Belarus. Belarus is very calm about it. But now they want just to send the forces to the border to deflect attention of Ukrainian army. That's it. There were reports that Ukraine shot down the Russian fighter bomber Sukhoi-34 in Kursk Oblast, but we don't have any sort of the confirmation of this information. Yes, it comes from the Ukrainian side, but there is no visual or any sort of the evidence or even the official statement from the Ukrainian Air Force. So I'll just wait for this information to be approved or disapproved. Meanwhile, Ukraine is using its helicopters in the Kursk region to transport infantry forces and supplies. It increases the mobility of the Ukrainian army in Kursk and the probabilities of the successful attacks. Ukraine uses all of the types of the vehicles in Kursk Oblast, helicopters, those demining tanks, I think based on Leopard 1 base, Soviet tanks, MRAPs, M777 artillery systems. There are no any limits, it's the full-scale military operation. As Russian officials said at the beginning, it is just some of the sabotage attack, nothing serious, but here we may say that they were not correct. Well, anyways, this operation of Ukrainian army in Kursk plays its positive role, also increasing the morale of Ukrainian army. In the Black Sea, the Ukrainian drone boat hit the gas platform, so it was before and it is after. That platform belonged to Russia, and no, it's not the oil platform, it's the gas one, so it will not contaminate the waters too much, and it is actually quite small. Why is it important to target those platforms? Because Russia uses them to install the special radars. And this is the location of the platform, as you may see that it's kind of close to the commercial route of Ukrainian ships. Yes, it was really close, now not any longer. And now let's review the front lines in Ukraine, so the major vector of the Russian attack, Pokrov's direction. Yesterday and today, just minor changes, Russia moved a little in Ivanovka village, that's it. And also we have the clarification in Zhelony village, so basically Russia stopped there for the third day already. There was some movement of the Russian forces in Toretsk direction, so yesterday and today, just the gray area expansion towards this road. But the main advancement of the Russian army happened in the Kharkiv region, so they definitely want to reach Oskil. Well, this advancement happened for many days before. Just today we obtained the clarification of what Russia was able to gain. So let's move to this side. So yesterday's update and today's update, you may see that Russia has many of the attack vectors. So they're still pushing the Ukrainian army out there. If it is true, there is the risk for Ukrainian army of being encircled in many of the small areas near Novoselivsk and also over here between Tabalivka and Pishane. But again, it happened not just for the last 24 hours. No, it's not the Russian full-scale offensive. The deep state military map has just obtained the new data from the actual front lines. This situation developed for many days like that. Yes, it is not a good sign, but Russia has advantage in Ukrainian front lines, unfortunately. And the goal of the Kursk operation is to minimize that advantage, to force Russia to send their reinforcements to protect their own territory. Here we have this update just from the first date of the Ukrainian intervention to the Russian territory. The deep state military map doesn't provide us with detailed information of what is happening out there, unlike many other sources. But again, it's really hard to tell about any sort of the detailed information from the Kursk region. Yes, we have the evidence of particular spots, like I told you about Suja, for example, but unfortunately or fortunately, the fog of war is thick in this place. And now, my friends, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot. And as usual, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.